What's up guys, this is Sean and welcome back to the iherng podcast, and today we will answer a question from email. This is from Xiao. Hi, thank you so much for reading my email. I'm working in Malacca and currently renting a room here because I'm not from Malacca. Recently I've decided to look for a house here. However, I've been really confused to whether I should buy a subsale house or a new project. I'm confused because I've heard that subsales house can sometimes be a hassle because it involves way more paperwork, and sometimes the house condition might not be as good and the involvement of the previous owner, so it would require months for loan approval, and subsales are way more expensive than new homes. For new projects, I'm contemplating because the project that I'm currently interested in will only be ready in June 2024, which means I have to continue renting until then, and I was actually hoping on getting my own place as soon as possible so I won't need to rent. I'm a first home buyer, so I'm really confused about the pros and cons of each type of house. Thank you very much. Well, very short and very sweet. Thank you very much for sending in, Xiao. But there's a few things that we want to address here. The first statement of you explaining why you rent, because you're not from Malacca and you're working there. So this is the entire theory of renting, right? The rental rates is determined by the temporary demand of space of a particular location, which is around 2 to 3 years. So like your example is a classic example where you are shifted there. I don't know why you're posted there to Malacca in the first place, but you are there for work. So temporarily you just need a space to stay, but you are not certain on how long you will be there. So it wouldn't make sense to buy a house because you are not even sure whether next year you will still be there. And flexibility is just more important at this current state. That's why in locations of high job opportunities, of high human population and traffic, right, the rental demand are just way higher because it wouldn't make as much sense for people to own the property. Examples of this is like the classic ones that we always talk about: Bangsar South lah, Mont Kiara lah, Cheras lah, Titi Wangsa lah, KL City Centre, and etc. So these are areas where there are just a lot of job opportunities. Everyone from everywhere of Malaysia just comes to KL and work. And since we just passed through the festivals, right, there's this joke that people talk about always, especially for KL folks, right? This is the time where you can really just lie down on Jalan Tun Razak and you will be absolutely fine because there's just no cars. Come to think of it, right, every day you look at the jam within the city centre, the root cause of it is because people are no longer staying within KL city centre. Everyone is just moving outskirts, but they are still working within the city itself. Just imagine if everyone who works in Subang stay in Subang, who works in Cheras stays in Cheras, who works in KL stays in KL, right? There won't be as much jam unless there's a mall or some catalyst that everyone wants to go to. So every day from 6 to 9, everybody just try to gush into the city. Then after working hours, everybody try to move out from the city. Then the city suddenly becomes empty at night. The next discussion, you now want to buy a house, but you are deciding between a subsale or a new project. You commented that subsale is way more mafan because there's a lot of paperwork, there's involvement of the previous owner, so it takes a long time. Yes, especially for leasehold projects. So if you are buying a freehold, it's way quicker. The process is way quicker, but we are talking only about like 3 months lah. So if it's a freehold one, everything sorted out, you need to wait for about 6 months for everything to get transferred. But if it's a leasehold, it takes maybe 3 to 4 months extra because it will require state consent. And here, every states are different because as we always learn during school time, right? All land matters are state matters. So Selangor government will have different or slight alterations of guidelines compared to Perak, compared to Johor, compared to Seremban, compared to Malacca. East Malaysia different, West Malaysia also different, Persekutuan also different, and so on. So that's why real estate is very, very interesting here in Malaysia because there's no exact same rule in that sense. Then when you say subsales is more expensive than new homes, that depends though. So if you are buying a project where the new homes is way more expensive, the main reason why, because you are going to get the house in 2024. So now it's 2023, it's going to be another 2 more years. So developers will usually just inflate the price a little bit just to cover some risk. And this is often the time the debate, like a lot of people saying, why don't you just buy the old terrace house? It's like for Setia Alam example in Klang Valley, right? The latest terrace houses is selling for 1.1 million, 1.2 million, and it just sold out. But when you walk around the subsale market, you can get one for 780,000 or 820,000. The problem is the upfront payment, which is 18%. So an 800,000 property, you will need to pay out 144,000 in cash just to gain ownership of the property. So this has always been the main obstacle in terms of home ownership for a lot of youngsters. That's why now when you buy new properties, right, what's great about it is the one-stop center solution, which includes financing and everything else lah. So now you walk in, you don't even need booking fees. You barely qualify for the loan and they'll sell you the property. And whether or not is it zero down payment or whatsoever, it depends on how much loan you are qualified for. Okay, enough of all the textbooks explanations, right? In your case right now, the main question that I would ask is, why own now? And why must you own an own stay unit in Malacca? If you tell me because your career, you are already set there, or you already found a partner there and you're ready to settle down in Malacca itself, so you're ready to get a home and settle down and build a family, fine. If not, right, I would strongly suggest to get an investment unit first within KL city centre, just because the ROI is better, just because the amount of choices is better. The temporary demand of space is just higher within city centre itself. And you might not know there will be better offers, or you might want to start a business or whatsoever. Because if you were to buy a unit for own stay today, like you said, it's expensive and it's a 35 years commitment. So once you buy a house, right, and this is a point that I debated for some time, but let's just give this a shot. If you were to buy a property today, right, let's say 500,000, you buy today and you pay for the next 35 years and you sell at 1 million, the house actually double. Do you make money? So for those who have done math before and they calculate the housing interest onto the loan that we pay installment every month, right? We pay more than double of the property itself, which means like if the house is 500,000, in 35 years time, we maybe pay 1.3, 1.5 million. Well, it depends on the interest rate, but it's around there. So let's just fast forward 35 years. You can sell the property at 1 million. Did you make money? Not really though. What you just enjoy is something that you can call yours and you can just play with it however you want. You want to renovate it, you want to change the structure, change the interior, do whatsoever, and you have certainty that nobody will chase you away due to the expiry of tenancy agreement or whatsoever. So you kind of enjoy that piece of staying within during that duration of 35 years. If the property doubles within 10 years, then maybe you make money. If not, right, it's pretty hard to make money. But at least if you believe the concept of forced saving, every month, if you don't pay into the house, you're going to spend it anyway. You don't have discipline or you don't have confidence in your discipline. This is then a very good vehicle to somewhat store the value of your money. At least you can still get back whatever you put in. Instead, if you were to buy a property somewhere else where the rental can cover your installment, which is the ROI of 4.5 to 5% preferably. And I'm actually in this process again hunting around KL where I just set the trade within Twitter and Instagram itself. Surprisingly, there are a lot of projects where instantly you buy, you can break even. Well, the project hands over in 3 to 4 years time, but at current rental rate, it can already somewhat break even. So that's exciting. Imagine you owning that property after putting in some budget for renovation or makeover. You allow the tenants to build equity for you. So within 35 years, if the property 500,000, let's say apartment, you won't appreciate that much. Let's say it becomes 750,000. Did you make money? Absolutely. Because what did you pay for the property? You have 35 years of people paying the installment for you. All I'm saying is when you are single, do venture more into the investment side of things. Invest the money and let the money work for you first. Build cash flow vehicles first before seeking for comfort, before seeking for certainty and peace of mind. If you're building a family, that makes sense, go ahead. Because what's the worst that can happen is you commit a house and then you think about providing the best for yourself. You buy something beyond your affordability, pinjam somebody's name to join and just to own the property. Then you renovate the house, ending up you got transferred from your job. Suddenly you are transferred to Penang, for example, or sometimes you are transferred to KL, for example. Then because you have already paid so much upfront in the renovation and the home, now you feel sakit hati whenever you want to rent out to people. You worry people damage your house lah. Then you just leave it empty and pay for rental for another place in KL, which is like a double whammy kind of thing. So let's say if you decide to rent out, but you worry the tenants damage your property, you're still complaining that you need to pay the difference because for landed property, it's very hard to have a renter that can cover installment. The temporary demand for landed properties is just not as high, which then also means, isn't it more sensible to rent a landed house? Because technically it's way more affordable, it's way cheaper to do so, but that doesn't mean that you do not invest. There's this statement that goes like, property price keeps going up doesn't mean you need to buy a home, it means you need to be a landlord. And that would be my suggestion. So I just think that it's important to have certain clarity on why you wish to have your own home now. Is it for romantic reasons that it's a symbolic object of maturity or growing up or adulthood or whatsoever lah? Because personally, I will only get a real home when I'm 45, I think. That's when my kids are settled down. There won't be any more changes within the career. Everything is just settled down. Meanwhile, using all my money to build cash flow vehicles, which also means properties that is actually collecting rent every month. And if I cannot afford when I'm 45, it makes total economic sense to just rent a landed property. If you think about renting a semi-D, right? Let's say any semi-D within Klang Valley is like 1.2, 1.5 million. Just to own the property needs like 7 to 8,000 installment every month. But when my kid starts going to uni or he starts studying overseas, it's just the two old folks within the house. Like, what for, right? So I also think that landed house is a temporary need kind of thing. Well, this is speaking from the perspective where I'm just doing okay. If you are in abundance, right, do whatever you want. You can buy a mansion, you can buy an island, right? But when resources are limited, I think that this makes more sense in allocation of our money. Well, that's my opinion, and I hope that this is helpful to you, Xiao. And thank you very much for writing in. And for those who still have any questions regarding real estate, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram iherng, and I will see you guys on the next one. Ciao.